if you share your journey, I mean, like about your education, your life, and how did you become a psychologist and transformation coach?
Yeah, so I think mostly if you ask any psychologist, we have so many reasons why we gravitate towards the field of psychology.
Yeah.
And I had very kind of peculiar reason, I would say, because it usually happened that I was able to manage. I was very good in all aspects of my life, like career, health, and everything. But when my kids wouldn't listen to me, I was like, why can't I make my kids listen to me? What's wrong with me? And everything. So, and other than that also, like I think being in the corporate field, dealing with many people, what I realized is that most projects fail not because of anything else, but because of lack of communication. So if you see, as per the statistics, 80% of the projects fail because there is no proper communication, between different people, between different things. And it's so important because not everyone, they don't teach us the art of communication. But I think that's the most critical art that anyone can have. So be it career or be it in any field, communication plays a very important role. And I thought, I am kind of my personality is reformer, which means that I go into deep of everything and all that. So I actually started as an NLP practitioner. Then from corporate field, out of my experiences, I thought I should go into a counseling field. And then I did a bit counselor course, and I thought, I will do a coach, and I became a coach. And then I thought that finally I should be a psychologist. And that is how.
So, before while doing the course, you got to know that you want to become a psychologist.
The reason actually, if I go into the depth of it, it's that not everyone can think about growth. People who are hungry, if you talk to them on growth, just imagine they are worrying about their bills, they are worrying about what to do next, what gig to do next to earn a living. How will they pay their bills and all. So when I started this consulting, the kind of people who came to me were not the people who were looking for growth. Even though I started it for growth-oriented people, but what I realized is the majority of, especially in this part of the country, they are mostly struggling with the basic challenges of food, clothing, their bills, jobs, and all of those social issues. And then so then I thought how to give interventions to these people, and that's what made me incline. I got inclined towards the field of psychology because I heard a lot of interventions that I can give, even though they are not of growth-oriented mindset. Right? So that was the main reason.
That being said, that communication is a very main important thing, in every project. So how did you manage? Because, there are many people with different mindsets, different, way of thinking. So how did you manage to relate with them?
That's a good question, Maya. I think that's what is so interesting. When we deal with different people, you're not taught how to analyze. You are just using one lens to see the world. But in psychology, and we go into coaching also, I would not say that everyone needs to be a psychologist. Just coaching gave me a different perspective as to how to look at a situation. Because the situation is same, but everyone looks at it in a different way with their own glasses, right? I would say. So, to answer your question, what you're saying is that how you deal with different personalities, how you do different, how do you handle communication with different people. If we understand this aspect, that first, what we do is, whenever someone comes to us for coaching for growth, we tell them do a personality test. Why do we do that? So basically, it's like find out yourself first. Find out your own user manual. How do you work? Because what happens is, that is actually, we have a two-folded advantage of that. Like you just don't get to know yourself, but then you think, I am with this personality, so when I'm dealing with some person, maybe he has got some different personality, he is looking at it from a different angle. It's not that we versus them, it's just that we are all looking at things with a different lens. So I think then we tweak. Then I can't tell you in one go that you should do your communication in this way, because it's very different for different people. As per scenario, you have to pick up the cues, and there's a lot of studies that we do. There are a lot of techniques and tools that we teach people to improve their communication.
So this is how you got to know how to talk with different mindset people.
Most importantly, I I used to blurt out, I used to tell whatever, just like that. But after studying psychology, I'm like, no, you have to really work on your communication. You can't just blurt out whatever comes to your mind. So basically, you have to understand, you have to go into the psyche of a person and try to really find out where he is, and then talk to him in that language. Because connection is the first and most important thing. Most people try to, do something or make a point without connecting with someone. It's like trying to, charge without having any connection. You should first have a cable and establish a connection. Then only you will be able to install apps and do anything, right?
Yeah.
So that's the missing link, I think.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. So what are the most common family conflict that you see among today's youth?
Yeah, so family conflict. So now, there are many categories there. So why I got interested in family is because what I realized working in this field of psychology very closely with people from, very marginalized communities is that the main problem, if you see, is not with teenagers, with parents, with males, with females. No, it's all a very vicious cycle, I could say. It's a vicious circle we are in, because these are all interrelated.
Yeah.
Right? You understand what I mean, right?
I understand.
So to answer your question, the family has a very, the roots are very deep. If a teenager is not happy,
Yeah.
he's not getting a job. What happens in your typical families, right? When a child is in 8th, 9th, and as he goes into 10th, we are pressurizing him to get good grades, and whole world is behind them. I know a lot of teenagers and they're like, oh, we are in 10th, we don't know what's going to happen now, we are going to get butchered. And I'm like, cool, that cool. And said, no ma'am, you will say cool, but look at our face.
Exactly.
I feel so. But as you mentioned, right, you joined some tuition classes and you had fun. How was that experience for you, Umaya?
It was very good for me. I enjoyed a lot. I made many friends, and made many memories with them. Like having fun. Lastly, before exams, Ramadan was going on, so our tuition classes were at night. So we ended up at 1 o'clock, like that.
Okay.
So, after that, our parents used to come a little late, we used to tell them to come after 15 minutes. So, we used to walk around at that street at
Correct.
night with friends.
Correct.
I enjoyed a lot. I mean, making memories this 1 year, oh my god, that was really fun for me. Apart from that, if I talk about the boards, oh my god, I had a lot problems. Everyone was having any expectations with me. Oh my god, it's 10th. You have to, our children, they did this, they got this rank, they got this. Oh my god, competition, comparison is very, irritating when you're doing your boards or writing your exams. Oh my god, a big problem. But apart from that, I enjoyed a lot.
Okay, great. But everyone is not lucky like you, Maya. That's what I mean to say. Like I see many teenagers who are in 10th grade and they start dreading as to, what will happen now because I have so much pressure to handle and everything. And truly so, because, if I sit in an online class, practically I can't sit in that class. You know what it is. So how, because we are so much consumed there as a parent. Even I am a parent, so when I became a student, it was a revolution for me. I mean, I was the same kind of parent who used to say, you can do it, make studies fun. Yeah, I was more on fun side that, whenever we study, you should make fun as a critical element, because anything to make it, relatable and enjoyable, you need to add that fun element. I am the person who even introduced this fun hour in my corporate. Like I was like, otherwise works get monotonous and you don't do it with that feeling and with that emotion, right? When you get fun, when you do it with a team, which is like your family, then automatically those things come. You become dedicated. You give your more than 100%. You try to give it from your heart, right?
Yeah.
And same thing applies to studies also, right? Like when you are making studies so boring and so mechanical, and you can't sit in an online class without sleeping. How do you expect this Gen Z to navigate all those things? So why not teach them in a way that they can understand?
Yeah.
If they can't understand the way we teach, we need to really because if you see all the fields have like lot of advanced. They have become like lot of with AI and all of those things. Every field is getting bombarded with technological advancements. But our education is still like a bullet cart space, I think.
Yeah.
We have to still match up. So I tell children, maybe if we are not able to change things at a system level, you make it fun at your level.
Yeah.
You try to use different AI, play with, brainstorm with AI, I say. Brainstorm with them, try to use it, leverage it, make it smart studies and make it fun overall. And even parents should understand that it doesn't help if only you try to make it. How much can you help? Like you went for some classes, your sir made it interesting and that's why you got interested. But not all children are lucky, right? So basically you should get a circle. What I would say is make a group, have some energy. Group energy is something that can be really a big booster in your studies and everything. And when you start understanding the practical aspect of studies, it gets so interesting. So I say, if someone comes and teach you, you don't just listen to them. You say, give me an example. Tell me how do I relate it with my real life. That's when, because it's not a mind, it's not like a vessel.
Yeah.
It should be ignited. So when you do that, I think then we will give real interventions. Now then people will not become job seekers, they will become inventors. They will start thinking, because let's face it, not everyone will get job. What's the population of this country? Everyone will not get job because we go for trainings, right? It's so sad for me that students come and say, ma'am, I did everything but I'm not getting job. You understand what I mean? We have to take the matter in our own hands. That's what I mean.
So according to you say that dealing with a Gen Z, you have to also, think like them, or like any generations, or you also have to think like them, or think about them.
I wouldn't say think like them. I would say whoever you're dealing with, if you have this empathy, like as a counselor, as a psychologist, we are trained to, how we are trained to put ourselves in others' shoes, right? So we can visualize what they're going through. When someone comes, we forget about ourselves. We are so involved in that session, we can feel what they're feeling. So it becomes easy to understand what someone is going through. So that is what you get. Empathy is wired into us. You have to just listen without interrupting them. And people do a lot of assignments, activities, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we don't have to become like Gen Z, but we should put them in, we should put ourselves in their shoes and try to understand their situation. Because if you become like Gen Z, then their problems are yours. No, but you have a bigger, bandwidth. You have seen life from a different angle, so you might be in a position to give them interventions, to put them, but then take a step back and help them to sort out their issues. Because then you can guide them through the intricacies of, whatever they are going through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on to the next question. How has the definition of family changed in recent years?
So what's happened is actually, I think this is kind of a big issue we are going through. There's a war out there, but here we are going through a different war, within families. And that is because I think, I don't know why, this is a simple thing, a simple psychological concept that parents fail to understand, which I myself, I was unable to understand, like I told you. Why didn't my children listen to me?
Yeah.
Right? So when I did like counseling, psychology, NLP, everything, and then I realized, why am I trying to make them listen to just me? Why it has to be just me? Maybe it's a parent's ego. When I understand that this generation, and if I ask myself, did you always listen to your mom? Did you? So that's the question. We are not asking the right questions. That's what I think. So I tell parents, it's okay. They wouldn't listen to you. That's fine. That's the psychology. That's their bent of mind. So you work around it. You have some people who will mentor them, and you mentor other kids.
Yeah.
To work around the situation. It's not necessary that you have to. If you look at things from very narrow angle, you will always be stuck. You try to look at things from a 360-degree view and see that how can you approach things in a different angle. That's when you come up with unconventional solutions. So that's what I say. So now because of this problem, because they're trying to make them listen to you, the family is getting derailed in this process. Everyone is like, "Tu मेरी बात सुनो, मैं तुम्हारी बात सुनता," and all that stuff is going on.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be the case. Family means it's a place that people should come home to, right? Like, it should be a place filled with peace, happiness.
Yeah.
And how can we do that? If parents actually, stop disconnecting with children. because we are not connecting. Other people are connecting with them. Devices are connecting with them. And you see, they go a lot in their friend circle.
Yeah.
Why? What do they get in their friend circle? You have to ask yourself this. What do you think they get in friend circle? Maya, if I ask you, what do you get from your friend circle?
They listen to me basically. And they listen to my problems and they try to, give me some solutions and console me a little.
Just a support system.
Yeah.
Just a support system. Maybe they'll just lead you to some questions or some answers. In some cases, you'll just brainstorm. And that's it, right? That's why you feel so good. So you ask yourself a question as to why our homes are not those safe spaces where they are able to express. Because in many cases, it's very sad that बोलते हैं ना, हमने तो अपनों ने लूटा था, गैरों में क्या दम था. Many, if you see all the cases, Maya, you will be surprised that family is the problem of the family. If people can understand that, it will be a game changer, I tell you. Like, some or the other, he wants this, he wants that, and then they are unable to come to a win-win proposition. But I am guaranteeing you, if they sit and find out ways, if they open their mind and try to look around with an open mind, they will definitely get solutions. People are able to solve big, conspiracies, wars. They're able to, resolve so many big problems in the world. And can't we solve a simple family problem? It's all between us. But the family should be ready for that. And I feel that for families also there should be some accountability. There is no accountability. Okay, tell me why in the West this does not happen. It happens maybe, but not to that extent. That's what I feel. What do you think can be the reason? Any thoughts?
I think the family is
Have you heard, like in the US or abroad, they'll just call. If something happens to the children, they'll just call and say, they can report you. So my point is there's so much of transparency, right? I don't know why that system isn't. Families should be accountable, and because in any of it's such a big family, combined family system either. First of all, I feel there should not be families should be given option to stay there, because if you see nuclear family is big. It's a big concept abroad, and they stay peacefully compared to at least Indian families, because you see a lot of drama going on over here. So I really feel that nuclear family should be the thing, because the people here, they have a tendency to interfere in other things. Okay, you being curious about other families is fine. That's how our social media is thriving, because you're curious about it. It's fine to be curious. Okay, I'm also curious about many things, so I explore. But don't interfere and trust your opinion on others. And if you have to do that, you better stay in a different, house or a family, because otherwise the family structure gets, totally, scattered. Which is not a good thing for our teenagers, nor for our families. And even elders should understand. It's not just Gen Z. I don't blame anything on Gen Z. In fact, I empathize with them. It's we parents, it's our responsibility that we should understand. We should see where the world is going, and accordingly we have to, modify and customize our approach.
Yeah. So according to you, the children who are having committed parents, or the parents who just want their decisions to be prioritized. So with this leading to depression or stress or trauma. So what do you think? How should a child, overcome this situation?
Where the parents are forcing something?
No, they are committed to their decisions. So how, this is leading to this depression?
Yeah, that means they're not able to listen to the. Yeah, actually, believe me, now that you raise this, nowadays many parents come to me. I think ये लोग पढ़ते हैं ना बहुत Instagram पे इधर देखते होंगे anhedonia, catatonia, and what is this melancholia, and all of this stuff. I'm like, leave it to the psychologists. Don't worry about, don't brand your children. These are all things, and then they'll read about all the chemicals and the serotonin, dopamine, oxytocin. That's fine. It's good to have knowledge, but then let's not brand. Yeah, these are all chemicals at play when you are a teenager and everything. But if you can utilize them, if you can, leverage these things, neurotransmitters, which I, these neurotransmitters, and give them the right, instead of dopamine and adrenaline, you are, gravitating more, and you are making them go more towards oxytocin, the permanent happy hormone that can be there in them. And basically, give them a good purpose. I would not, introduce all this enigmatic language, because this, for a common man, what I would say is that, give them a good purpose. Even, nowadays CBT, you might have heard about cognitive behavior therapy.
Yeah.
But even in cognitive behavior theory, what happens is, how will you bring a person back to his roots? Like, how will you connect a person, to this? So it's pointing towards spirituality. Now there is something called CBTR, through religion. You understand? So everything goes back to the basics. If parents have to start, you're asking me, right, how, if some people are like, they are very much particular about their stance, and if children want to do different things, they will not accept it.
Yeah.
They can be, something like a different, they are totally narcissists. They don't want to listen to anything. They're like bigot. You can't understand. Don't expect any understanding from them. There are many such things. OCD, they will be stuck with this. But then there is a way out. What I say is, get a support system. Get a support wherein, someone is able to talk to your parents in a language that they can understand. Because, it's not about who is saying. Sometimes it's not about what they are saying. It's about who is saying. So sometimes people, get mentors, and I'm not saying get psychologists or counselors. No, I'm saying someone from your family only, maybe, just involve them, just talk to them, because there isn't any problem for which there is no solution, right? You just have to use the right technique. So find out those people with whom your parents connect closely, and they can, understand their viewpoint, and then confide in them. But you have to use, you have to be very smart for that. You have to use your own discretion so that you don't get into more trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So, can you want to next?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, okay. So, why do many young people feel actually disconnected?
Because like we are, I was there as well, so I can give you a first person account of what I used to do and what I thought disconnected me from my own kids. Like, constantly worrying about them and telling them, do this, do that. If you observe, this is not what their friends do, and that's why they are pulled towards them.
Yeah.
Because their parents are, it's out of goodwill, they want good for them, but that's not how we create an environment. We're creating an environment of constantly nagging and cribbing and then telling them do this, that which this generation doesn't like. So we have to, fix ourselves, our ways, our language, because we are using a disconnecting language.
Yeah.
What I call circuit breakers.
Mm.
They're called circuit breakers, If there is being a circuit which you are trying to establish, your child is trying to tell you, and then you say, no, but you did this, immediately the connection is broken. He will go and confide in another counselor. He will feel safe to confide in another counselor or anyone else. What's the point? Did you serve? Is your purpose served? No. And what happens is, even after you creep and try, that also does not get anywhere fulfilled. So what is the point? You have to assess yourself. You have to constantly reassess. What you have to do, role play with yourself. What if I did it like this? What if I did like that? So you have to have a scout mindset. That's what I say. Try and experiment what works with your child. Because we haven't taken the trouble of finding out what personality and all. What we do in coaching is we do all those things and then make a person go from one point of view to another. Meaning, see, if you want to change a person, what are the two ways? Can you think of it? There are only two ways a person can change. Either you change the situation or you change the way, the lens through which he is looking at that particular thing. Right? Because it's the same thing, but the way you look at it makes the difference. So in coaching, that's what we do. A person is looking at a particular situation in a different way, we change their lens of how he can look at that situation. And if to answer your question, if we can do that through parenting, this coaching and all, it is actually, it captures all the angles, it captures the essence in parenting, be it any area, it gives you breakthroughs and transformation. So I would say use this. There are so many strategies, we have a lot of tools set in NLP, psychology and everything. Why can't parents use it? They should. They should want to do it. Then there are so many things out there. They would definitely do it if they want to, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, moving on to the next question. Are generation gaps becoming wider? Yeah, if it is yes, then why?
That's not like there are no classes for parenting, right?
Till now, I didn't see it. Maybe.
I don't know. That's the most important thing, right? What do you think? How a country can progress? What is the basic element of a country? If you see Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam said, right? Family is the basic element. So catch people at a family level. Now if you see families are disintegrated, there is no harmony. As I told you, Gairo mein kya dam tha? Nowadays people in the families are not supporting people in the family. That's the most tragic part. So do that now, let's do that. And if you ask me, when I was in Dubai, right, I had no idea of what's going on in the world. I was just a very, a mechanical life was going on because I used to go to my job to home, and then kids maybe, that was the only thing. But also I noticed when I come from Dubai to here, right, what I noticed is that there are many problems here that are not there. Then I started thinking, you see it any field, right? Like, I mean, I used to, go for the drive there when I had to have fun, like a stress buster out of my work and everything. That was like a stress buster. I put some music and go to drive. And when I go for driving here, I think, I get burned out of stress. What's the difference? And why are there so many problems in our Indian family system which are not there? So, if you notice, you will get answer to your question. The thing is that here in our families, there are a lot of unnecessary things that goes on. If you see any family, they are free. They have a lot of time in hand. They will start discussing about, in-laws and everything. All those things, जो हमारे माशरे में जो बुराइयां हैं, why do they come? That is the root cause is that we have given them so much free time on hand. सिर्फ घर में पकाओ and all, उतना ही करो. अरे यार, everyone should be protected. Give them some target. Give them some career. Give them some kind of purpose in life. They don't have a bigger purpose, so they get involved in all of this gossip and all of those things. And that's not it, just breaking the family. It's breaking the families, right? So you have to assess why it does not happen in Dubai and all that, because there you don't have any other way of. You have to work. You are so busy. You don't get time for all of these things. So the point is, we have to keep our generation, our women also very busy.
Yeah.
I don't know what's the thing that, when I used to work there, it was all fine and everything. When I came here, don't work. Why? Because it's not safe to work. So, okay, if it is not safe to work, so it's our responsibility to make it safe to work. Instead of that, you say you don't work because it's not safe to work, then what do, right? You just eat and then sleep and then do gossip and then break the families. That's what the culture is, sadly.
So you mean to, we should keep ourselves busy so that...
Not just busy. Busy is a very shallow word. I feel you have to have a mission, so it should be burning within you that you have to achieve something. That burning desire should be, because see, even if you say religion or anything, now that I'm going to pilgrimage, I'm like, I'm not going for the first time, alhamdulillah, by God's grace, I'm going for the third time, but still then I have to attend so many lectures, and every time I attend a lecture, it's like, oh, I didn't know this, it's like an ocean. So what I mean is, if you go into any field, it's an ocean. And where are we standing? If you see small countries, but you have to just think, in our religion also, there is something called tafarruq. Hope I'm saying it right. Matlab, horrific. You have to reflect on everything. So why are we, if you just reflect, if you take a broad view, why is this country, one small country, able to waste so many wars and create all of this chaos around the world? One small country, right?
Yeah.
Why is it controlling US? Why is it controlling all the other countries? Maybe they do something different. What is that? So, they have very clear mission, they have a very clear planning. Where are we? What are we doing? We are busy with our chai parties, with our gossips and all non-productive things. So, if our mission is so clear, if our planning is so clear, and we need to, as I told you, you need to keep on revising. Someone should be there to keep on. Like we are in a group where, coaching, and every week I have 3 or 4 calls wherein we are reminded of our purpose and how to achieve it and everything. So there should be a constant revision of how to achieve it. Not just have a higher purpose and then you don't know what are your interim goals, what are you achieving and everything. There should be you should be on a mission, and then that's when you can light up your life and light up the lives of people around you.
Is it possible to change the mindset of people? Like, as you said, people say that women, okay, why do you have to work? Why do you have to go out to work? It's not safe. So is it possible to change the people's mindset, or?
Definitely it is possible, but there is a way. There is a way. There is a saying, for every problem, there is no problem for which there is no solution. But only you have to find the right way, and it will be different for different people. I can't tell you one generic way for everyone. For example, I will give you a small example. When in our family also, they don't allow working. Like they're like, पहले तो study कर रहे हो, okay, you should be educated, इतना ज़्यादा. And then फिर काम भी करना है. Like in some families where they don't need to work, like why do you want to work? Was the question like my father had. I was like, so I knew this question would come because I knew how it is in our families. So what I did beforehand, I studied so well that I got a gold medal.
Oh.
Yeah, so my name is there in the gold medal because I knew that if I completed and if I didn't do anything great, my father maybe say, okay, you studied it, so what, everyone studies. So what is that great thing you did? So I said, I got a gold medal now. So believe me, Maya, that is what triggered all the changes. Like, I mean, before me, I think there weren't many women. In fact, I was the first woman who went into corporate from my family. My father was a very sick man, but somehow he was such a sweetheart. So I was able to convince him. Why? Because I told him, so now that I got a gold medal, what do I do? He said, okay, if you really want, maybe you can start with teaching. So I started with teaching also. What happened is, yes. So I mean, there are ways by which you can. If I would have just said no, my father wouldn't allow. Then there are some ways by which, and my father would listen to my elder sister. So I made friends with him and said, hey, can you help me? So there isn't any problem for which there isn't any solution. You need to really find out. Even if you really want it, I'm sure you will get there. You will find someone. As I told you, if in your family you can't find an external mentor. There are so many people out there wanting to help you, because everyone wants you. You are the generation, right, in which our future is there. Like हम तो अब हमारा तो टाइम हो गया है, but our future of our country is in your hands. Gen Z and the upcoming generations. So you guys should be willing to find the solutions for yourself, unconventional solutions. I'm sure if you decide for yourself, if you make your mind up, then there is nothing that you can't solve. So yeah, and then imagine that happened, right? Somehow I went into teaching. My students asked me, ma'am, how to get into corporate? And I was like, I don't know, because I have never been to corporate. Then that fire ignited within me, why shouldn't I go to corporate? So I took all the training, but now the big question was how to convince my father. And everyone was against it. Again, I did something, maybe sometimes fair, sometimes unfair. So I didn't eat for 2-3 days, this, that and all that. Like she wants it, what is the problem? Like it's very safe and it's everything. And he let me go there. There I worked. Then after 2 years I got an on-site opportunity. And I remember that evening very clearly. My manager told you have to go very quickly, go and get your passport. And I was like, I don't think he will give me, but anyway I will try. And I came and told my mom, Mom, give me my passport. I am going to US. And everyone was like laughing, hey, what do you think he will allow you to go there? Wow, so cute. And they were all laughing at me. I'm like, okay. So they didn't give me passport at that time. I had to, literally 2 weeks, I had to, do a lot of coaxing them and a lot of things. So it happens. What I did was I invited them. I invited my whole team because I understood my papa's concern. I spoke to him. And he was a very logical person, Maya. He spoke to me and he said, I'm concerned about your security, nothing else. I know your team is very good and everything, but I'm still concerned about your security. Then what I did is I invited everyone for the iftar party. And when they came and when we interacted with them, they were very good. I said, I told you. So can I go now?
So he allows you at the last.
Yeah. in the last he allowed me, I went on site not once, twice to New Jersey to their head office, and I think that was a game changer, you know. That is when I got interested into training field and everything and all that. So there is no problem that we can't solve, and I'm sure you might need support from others. So be willing, no, ask for help. That's what I say. I don't know why people think that all they have to do by themselves. It's okay to ask for support. There are many people out there who can support you, who might have, because your challenge is not unique, right?
Yeah.
Is it your problem? No one has faced that problem. Whenever you get any problem, you need to think from this mindset. It's my problem, the first problem. No one faced my problem. Kuch to solution hoga.
Yeah.
Right? But just that we don't see it. So you have to do, you have to move and shake.
We have to find out.
Find out for ourselves, and that's what will widen your perspective also. You know, you will find out problem solving is something that we do a lot in corporates, and you get that in research. You have nothing, you don't know anything. You have to literally find out everything. So I think that's when it totally gives you a different outlook, how you look at things. So you should not approach at problems like, you know, in corporate there was my manager. When issue comes, what do you say? We all used to say, oh, issue. And he used to say, interesting. What kind of a person is he? Like, whenever a problem comes, you're like, problem, but he used to say, interesting. And what I observed is, he would almost, every time he would end up with some or the other solution. You know? So that's the thing. Like, I think if you start observing it, you know, different mindsets, how people approach, see how what he's doing, the problem is the same for all of us, but for me it's a problem. For him, oh wow, so why not treat problems like a game?
Yeah.
Level 1, level 2, level 3, अगर कुछ हो गया तो let's treat from here. ऐसे करते हो ना आप लोग गेम्स में तो कितना इंटरेस्ट करते हो, लाइफ को भी गेम के जैसे ट्रीट करें तो the problem will be solved.
Yeah, okay. There's a problem in future, including me actually. So if there's a problem, we need instant solutions, you know. At this moment, we have to solve this, today we have to solve this, tomorrow there's no chance. Or tomorrow we won't be, you know, that interesting, it won't be that interesting, we don't want that. Okay, tomorrow, we tried a lot, now we don't want it. We did, now there is no hope, basically. So, you know, solutions, they say that they have to take time, solutions takes time, you know, everything takes time to heal or, you know, convincing. So, you know, how to, you know, overcome that excitement, we say, or maybe that hurry, you know, to
Instant gratification, right? This is the generation of instant gratification. Yeah, but the thing is that is what I say, Maya. Suddenly you say, no, I want to do this. This is something, see, you're talking about personality here. You're not talking about something you can just, it's not a switch that I can turn on or turn off. You're talking about the rules. So if you know that's the reason we are so passionate as educators, that from you know, childhood, if you are made, that's because in our families we are not making you wait for something. Nowadays, if you see, everyone is giving everything. If I tell you, if from childhood you were made to wait for something, if you go, why we are so passionate about going and teaching children in, you know, maybe rural areas and all that, because they know they will not get everything. They are used to that struggle. So they will be able to endure the struggle of life. But in our families, if I tell, right, okay, let's make them do some chores. Because if you see Harvard University research, if you see Stanford University research, even APA, American Psychology Association, of which I am an active member, yeah, so even that research, APA says in their research, the best way that, you know, children can be independent and they can have imbibe all of these skills is to make them do chores at home. Because when they do chores at home and when you give them responsibilities early on, what happens is you are setting up them for their failure, because you know they will setting up for them for success, but eventually through a medium of failure, sometimes they will not be able to do some chores. So they are okay to fail. They will learn it's okay to fail, how to get up and do some stuff. So we should emulate. See, our house should be like a playground for the real life. In our real life, ideally there is nothing which you will get easily, right? Yeah. You will fall, you will get up, you will have a lot of problems and everything. So your house environment should also be in a similar way. Let them do something. Let them struggle in house. Don't give them everything whenever they ask for. Because that is why you want that instant gratification. Did you get whenever your parents, whenever you ask your parents, did they give you every time?
Not every time, but like
Mostly.
You know, because
Got
I'm
it?
the first child, and like obviously you know how privileged the first child is.
Privilege is the first child. I understand because I was the same parent. You know, we want to do everything for our children because they are everything for us. But then you need to understand the psychology. If you understand the psychology, it can be a game changer. Of what are you making your child? You see, the best thing that you can do for your children. What is the if you have to give only one skill, what is it that you can give to your children? Gift of thinking. Because nowadays children, our traditional education, they have stopped asking questions. They are just writing answers. Someone is putting in their mind, they are writing. They are not thinking. That's why all of this problem has come. This is a generation that we are not, we are using so many tools and we are doing advanced things, but we have stopped thinking, asking questions. If we ask questions, there are so many questions like they are unresolved for me. We are electing our own governments and then we are getting scared of them only. Right?
Yeah.
So there are so many kind of discrepancies. So you will start asking questions, you will go deep and all that. But where are the children nowadays? They are our Instagram generation, right? They are Snapchat generation. But again, I will not blame just them.
Yeah.
What is the entertainment that you are providing at home? Nothing. They will do that. Are you giving them something by which they will be more excited? They will be excited. They will throw that, and they say, "Wow, this is more exciting." I will say the real challenge is there. If you can find something more exciting than that Instagram, that Snapchat, because you're getting a lot of whatever you're getting, instant gratification, rewards, and connection. If you can find out any one activity or that kind of environment wherein they will get all those things from that, they will not do that. Maybe I'm not against that. They can leverage technology in a way that we can't, anticipate as of now. It's gonna be huge. But if they're using it only for this, then it becomes very, shallow kind of thing, and they will not be able to, because it's like we are diverting from their goals. They don't even know where they have to go.
Yeah.
So someone should be there to center them, to tell them, what's their real purpose, and keep on reminding. It's not just a one-time job, as I told you.
Yeah.
I think when I was working, it was 5 years back. But after 5 years of rigorous training, I am this kind of person where I can, literally solve everything because I have gone through all kind of issues: health issue, relationship issue, career issue, finance issue, you name it, and I have gone through it. So the lesson, what I'm trying to tell you is that you have to go through issues. Then only you will be away from that instant gratification. If people don't, you are not used to that issues, that's why you want solutions like this.
I think I have to agree this. Okay, so moving on to the next question. What advice would you give to you to maintain mental peace?
Mental peace.
Yeah, at home. At home.
So it is for a different. Are you asking about how parents maintain their mental peace and how teens would maintain their mental peace? What am I supposed to like?
About parents.
About parents. Okay. So parents can be. See, that's so deep, right? It's so profound. I would say that now they are making their own life difficult by making things easy for their children. They are going through so much, and I think there's a lot of guilt also there. I'll tell you one thing. Like I have someone from US.
Yeah.
So from US, there is brother and sister. I'm working there. I'm coaching there. Just imagine, like, see the kind of mindset that people have. So the mother, she works very hard. She has a very good career. She worked very hard and everything, right? She's even making them Hafiz al-Quran.
Oh.
Being in US. So I give this example to everyone. Being in US, she is making her children Hafiz al-Quran. All the three of them.
Yeah.
She is making them. She's taking care of her career. She's doing a dentist course. It was so grueling. It was so grueling. She was having issues with her supervisor. We were discussing about how to tackle that. And now how is she supposed to give time? She's doing the grueling course, she's managing her family, she's making her kids do this course. And what happened is, now how, and there was this boy who is not like very open. He's not communicating much with the parents. Sure. So like I was coaching this guy, but there was this girl who was very good, and we used to have very good coaching sessions and everything. So what she did there, she managed everything. She didn't leave anything because of her children. She sought some good mentor so that she can take up this, because I did the same mistake for so many years, right? I left so many jobs, do you know that? I left so many jobs because whenever my children, because I used to be in Dubai, I had no help around me. It was just me and my husband. So like whenever I had a job, so who would look after my children? So I used to cry and leave because it was so dear. Like you start enjoying your job, right? And you have to suddenly leave it because you have to take care of your children. It's kind of sad at that point of time, but I had to do. That's what was my priority, right? But what I'm trying to say is that she didn't do that. She continued with her this thing, because her kids were of course big. I'm talking about when the kids are big, when they can be they can do things on their own. But then they were having some kind of they needed some mentorship. She understood that she is not the one who can sit there. If she sits at home and doesn't do her work, she would get frustrated and she wouldn't be able to help her kids in any which ways. So she's not someone who has five, she is able to continue with it, and it's such a big use case for me. But try to understand the psyche of your children. They will not listen to you, so it's okay. It's okay to get help. Get some mentors whom you believe. I'm not saying sort of psychologist, get a coach. No, I'm saying maybe any person who you're friends with, whom you know they have done it and they have been there and they are able to help you and guide you. Sought their help and get them in touch with them so that they're around some good peer mentors, They can guide them and, they can help them, support them in ways. They can improve their thinking, that's what I think. Give them the best skill wherein don't make them dependent on. Make them independent, right? If you're not that, they should be able to survive. I don't know why nowadays therapy and all that, it's kind of a bit sad for me. People go to therapy and they become dependent on therapy. That defies the purpose of therapy. That's what we do in coaching. We make them independent. You shouldn't need a coach after, say, a period of time, because your coaching is complete. And same should be for therapy. Otherwise, therapy is like it isn't the thing that it should have been. It is going to become a big fiasco, which I think is very sad. So that's why also people lose trust and everything. But if you go for a good coach, they will tell you the purpose of coaching is to make you independent, not dependent. That should be the main purpose.
So what do you think? Like taking a therapy is better, or consulting a friend or a close person?
No, I see that. I wouldn't have gone to therapy just when the things were okay, right? So why don't you just first find out assistance from your own circle first? If you feel that they are also not able to help you, then you can explore different options. You can go for coaching, you can go for therapy. There is nothing wrong in that. But first try to. That's what I'm saying. Problem solving is something that should come from our mindset. Should be someone of a problem solver mindset. It's called a scout mindset. Try to find out first. Work out for yourself. Try to find out ways for yourself, and then seek support from people around you, and then try to find out some good mentors also. There's no harm there.
So you think that taking talking, interacting with certain is way better than taking therapy?
It totally depends on your case. I can't say which is better. In every case, it's different, right? Like in my case, I started like that. I tried to take help of people around me, but I saw that I needed more, so I went to a coach. And I went to a coach, and then coaching has a kind of this much. Coaching is meant for people with growth mindset. But as I told you, I was getting people who were like who didn't know, who don't even know, they are having that problem. You understand what I mean? How would you solve their problem then? And for that reason, I went into psychology to give them interventions even if they don't have growth mindset. So that's what I'm saying. It all depends on different cases, right? If someone is growth mindset, I would say definitely go to a coaching thing. And if someone is like in a very basic, they don't know about growth because they have many other things to handle anyway, then you'll have to give them some psychological interventions, but then don't keep them in that therapy loop. Get them into that would be your success. Get them into a position where they are able to self-coach themselves, and using a coaching, we have different tools set and all, make them independent. such that they don't need you after that. They are able to handle things on their own. That would be the victory of this field, I think, both the fields. Not just coaching, even in psychology, we should not aim to keep them in a loop of therapy, which really defies the purpose. We should make them independent. That's why I think logotherapy is the best therapy. Viktor Frankl, what he says is, connect them to a bigger purpose. You know, if they find their purpose, they will automatically run. Just they would need maybe some support here and there, right? Don't go into that regression. Many people go into regression. वो कब हुआ था, वो क्या हुआ था, वो किसकी वजह से होता है, वो सब छोड़ दो, वो हो गया है. You understand what I mean? Because what happens is then they will always be blaming on the वो मेरी मॉम ने ऐसा किया था या उसका था. अरे यार, that's okay, that's fine now. You just make peace with that fact because you know they did their best. Now you have to do your best. So think about what you can do. So stop giving excuses, start doing. So I say shut up and start doing your work.
So moving on to the last question. What is one thing every parent should understand about this generation?
Yeah, so as I told you, so maybe you know, home can be that one best place for for the whole family. I'm not here to just advocate for women or for Gen Z or for any particular party, any particular genre, I would say, because all of them have their own challenges. So someone asked me like, who do you think mental health face more mental health challenges, men or women? I say please let's not start comparing men and women because both should be allies of each other. Why we are creating this environment where we are pitting one against other? Because both should support each other. Yeah, we are like family. Family means what? Family means people are able to die for each other. That is how we started. See, if you see a child, I remember my child. Even if I go to the washroom, he would be, mummy, mummy, mummy. See, that is how child starts, right? It's so sad now that children now they are more inclined towards friends. And whose onus is that? Like who is doing that? Is it child's fault? Because child is the same in any household. If you keep them in a growth-oriented mindset, he will become a growth-oriented person. If you keep the child in a player's family, he will become a player. If you keep him in a religious family, he will become a religious person. What does that mean? Means it's nothing got to do with the child, it's got to do with the environment that you're creating. That's why I'm so passionate about family counseling. Because if you just pick any one, clan, if you just pick parents, if you just pick Gen Z, if you just pick grandparents, or if you just pick parents, it's not gonna help. It has to be seamless, coordination between all of these. Then only our families can improve. I hope even I see a lot of this generation gap which you're talking about. Even they need to understand what's going on in the US world. If they are there in their old this thing, they can't relate with the kids. Kids will not relate with them. What's the point? So the onus is on everyone. We cannot single out one particular thing and we cannot say, okay, women are suffering. I understand, women have a lot of difficulties. Like you ask me which particular thing right in the family. Women, the most important thing, women have to handle everything. Plus additionally, women have to handle relationships, which is very, very difficult. I tell you, like I have so many instances. Let's not get started there because it's very sad. And men should understand that. They should partner up with them. It's not women against men. It's both together. Then you create happy family. A happy family will create a happy nation. When I had to come here, I was like literally so confused. People said, "Don't go to India. There's a mess out there." And I was like, really? I'm not sure. It was so confusing because of the things that we keep on hearing about what all goes on families here in India. It's such a big fiasco. I don't know why it all happens, but it's such a big issue and we have to really sort out by becoming one. We should not pit one against each other. I see many people ask me, men, women. I said, please don't do that. Don't pit men against women. Let's unite people instead of, isolating them. Don't put them in clans saying men. Even men are going through 1,000 issues, right? I know of men who didn't do anything but just they got because women are also not less now. We are doing so many things. Nowadays, people before they used to be very scared to approach women. Now women have become like so approachable, right? So there are so many things, yeah. Like every person has to introspect what is happening, how you can improve in your own way.
Yeah.
And if we all come together, then imagine, then we can defeat anything.
Yeah.
That's what we are doing. Why Israel is able to control so many economies, like it is able to control Lebanon, US, Palestine, Iran. Why? Why? It's just a small country. So you have to ask this question because they do the planning. Even before the child is born, they will plan that this guy should get a Nobel Peace Prize. They will plan everything. That's their planning. And what is our planning? Where is our generation? We are in the chai shop. We are talking about what's happening. But we are not doing anything. The best thing we can do is stop talking about them. Start taking your action. Become employable.
Yeah.
Become employable not to find a job but to create more employment. Invent something. See, when I went into PhD field, I was not sure of whether I would do it or not, even though I always wanted to do. But it really changed me as a person. It took me everywhere. I went to a lot of institutions and it really helped me. Now I can think of different things, unconventional solutions. So if you are having a problem, if you don't get a job, what will you do? Maya, I'm asking you. I tell them, if you have a solution focused mindset, you will create your own solution. Like if someone is good in programming, technical, but they are not getting job, what will you do? I say go to GitHub, create your own code, create projects and keep that as an example, send it to the employer, tell him that I have solved this, see, look at my code. Or better develop some code and show it to the employer. See, look at, see who will not get attracted, go above and beyond, right? Don't just stick to what job application. What job application? What? No one is looking at the job application. Solve some problem. And our education system also, right? We are only focusing on how to get a job. So the child is studying because to get a job. And which he might not even get because of our system. Why don't we make children study to solve some problems in the society? If they do that, once they solve some problem, then they can charge something, for that service. And they will also win, our society will also win, our country will also progress. That is how the education should be designed, right? That can change so many things.
I guess the parents have an important role in all of these things.
Who is going to teach all this thing? Who will come? Parents are busy. They have a very busy life. I should not be saying it because I was the same parent. But now that I am on this side, I am on the, I am on this chair where I am able to, attend to so many parents. So many parents come to us and tell about their concerns. Now I got this, So this is out of lot of, बहुत जूते पड़े हैं मुझे भी. उसके बाद मुझे ये सब पता चला. वरना हम भी वही पेरेंट थे जो ट्रिप करते थे. ये क्यों नहीं करते, वो क्यों नहीं करते. बहुत जूते खा के हमने सीखा. ये सही है और ये गलत है. And I am hoping that every parent doesn't have to go through all that. They can learn. Instagram पे देखते होंगे तो अगर ये रील दिख गए Instagram पे उनका आई हो. अगर किसी का भी भला हो गया तो I would feel that I have done my part. I hope we all learn from each other, and instead of creating these boundaries within the family, we actually become one and try to attack the enemy. What is the enemy? These devices have become enemies for us, right? They are capturing our children. If you see the cases that come to our clinic, you will be shocked. I don't even want to go into that, but the cases are such that you will start crying with the families. It's very horrific. And the families are doing bad with families, yeah. Where will you go? What will you do? Yeah. So why we are doing all this? Why we are fighting against each other? Let's become one. Let's then see who will trouble us. No one can trouble us. It's just because we have created this, fractions within ourselves. That is the reason people are troubling us. They're torturing us. They're doing all sorts of bad because we're not even able to open out and say, we are going through the problems. We are just getting enslaved, that's what I would say, to our own whims and fancies. We are busy with our own thing. But if you look at the overall big picture, we'll be able to solve so many problems. And let's start with families first, then let's go for the overall society.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. We had a nice talk. And I think many parents will understand whatever the conflicts, whatever the problems you think that parents are creating, and maybe many parents will understand what you have said. So thank you so much for
much for having me this bit. I had a real great time talking to you, Maya. Thank you so much.